To the campaign trail now, and PC leader Jamie Bailey is promising to complete the job first started by Rodney MacDonald when he was premier. In 2007, MacDonald promised to connect every Nova Scotian to high-speed internet. It was supposed to take 2 years and cost about $75 million. But there are still plenty of communities without, which is why Jamie Bailey is giving his plan a 10-year time frame at a cost of $150 million. Elizabeth McLean-Weil lives in one of those communities just outside Bridgewater. She's been lobbying for years to get access to high-speed internet.
Well, we have a farm and the market here, and at our farm we're not able to access high-speed internet, and so it means through the winter months when our market is closed, I have to come here to work. We don't have any service. If I want to do anything, I run it off my phone and use data off my phone to do anything at the farm, which isn't really the way to run a business.
In the budget table just before the election, the Liberals promised to fund 22 community and municipal projects to give better internet service to up to 5,400 homes and 420 businesses. The NDP plans to lay out its internet plan in the coming days.
NDP leader Gary Burrell officially announced one of his party's major platform planks today, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Burrell says it would be phased in using annual increases for 3 years. And he says the change will affect 130,000 Nova Scotians, more than half of whom are women.
These are people who, by means of this change, will be far less likely to need to get their food from a food bank for themselves or for their children. They're people who, by means of this change, will be far more likely to be able to afford a place of their own.
The minimum wage in Nova Scotia right now is $10.85 an hour.
Meanwhile, Liberal Premier Stephen McNeil, Liberal leader rather, was on the defensive today, facing questions about his decision to appoint a top campaign official who pled guilty to domestic assault.
The story was fueled by an intervention by federal Conservative leader Rona Ambrose, and there was the angry senior citizen who staked out McNeil's campaign announcement.
Paul Withers has more.
The Liberals wanted the focus on a plan to get more doctors, nurses, social workers, and others working together in the healthcare system.
Liberal government will fund more than 70 collaborative health teams across our province.
I applaud your announcements.
A plan endorsed by legendary doctor, educator, and community advocate Dr. Margaret Casey, but overshadowed by the appointment of a communications director who had pled guilty to assaulting a woman 3 years ago. Thanks to federal Conservative leader Rona Ambrose, who posted a tweet Wednesday saying the appointment of Kylie Harris sends a terrible message. PC leader Jamie Bailey happily weighing in.
When the Premier chooses to reemploy a person who has pled guilty to a domestic assault, I have to question his judgment.
Harris was the Premier's spokesperson at the time of the assault and was later fired. He was given a job in the Liberal caucus office in 2015 and is listed as communications director in this campaign. McNeil says Harris has paid his debt and deserves a second chance.
He's not in our government, first of all, and he's not in my inner circle. So to be perfectly frank, but Kylie has been working in employment in the caucus office. He's part of this campaign team. Continue to go forward. We have a strong record on domestic violence.
McNeil was also on the defensive for a broken promise from the last election, a promise that every Nova Scotian would have a doctor, a promise he will no longer make.
It will be my goal to ensure that every Nova Scotian has access to a family health care providing team.
As if to reinforce the failure, an angry senior citizen showed up as well. His wife waited 2 years for a doctor.
We're under a dictatorship. My wife had a heart attack 2 years ago. Couldn't get a doctor.
Meanwhile, NDP leader Gary Burrell was far more muted in his criticism of the Kylie Harris appointment today, and Jamie Bailey claimed he had nothing to do with the Rona Ambrose post that put it on the agenda today. Paul Withers, CBC News, Halifax.